What's up guys, Amar here from Magic Coding, and in this video we're gonna add some level ups to our game. So without further ado, let's get started. The first thing we gotta do is go to level spawner, and here we're gonna open it up. Once we're here, this level over here does not matter, so you can put any number you would like. Actually, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use something called player preferences. If you never heard of them, I'm gonna explain in just a second. So we're gonna say level equals to player preferences dot get integer, and we're getting our level, and we're setting that default value to be 1. So what's going on here? Well, basically we have our integer level. You already know that. And then we're referencing our level to the player preferences that get integer. So what is a player preferences? So this one stores a value. It can be an integer, it can be a boolean, or it can, I don't know, it can be a, let me see, player preferences, it can be a get integer, float, or a string. Yeah, it cannot be a boolean. And then you just type in any key. So for this example, level, you can add here 1, it will work, but you have to use throughout the whole code, you will use the key 1, and we're getting the 1. If there was no value to be added to the 1, that means the default 1 will be 1 if you add the comma and then any numbers. If I were to put 10 over here, this can be 10 by default, but by default it's going to be 1. What's the benefit of player preferences other than having that integer? Well, you can access it anywhere you want. So I can go to the player and I can say player preferences dot set an integer, and here we're gonna set the level to be, for example, 5. Other benefits of using a player preferences is actually that when you log out of the game, so when you exit out of the game, this will be saved. So if I ever left off my game at level 5, I can easily come back to it if I just use the integer, get integer level, and I will be at level 5, level 10, depending on where I left it. So these are the key benefits and the key things you should know about player preferences. If you want to know something else about, you can Google that out, but I think it's pretty much it. Then what are we going to do is we're going to add one more function, which will be public void. So public void next level. Here we're going to increase our level by saying player preferences. So player preferences dot set an integer, and we're setting our level to what value? We're setting the value which is current value of our player preferences dot get integer level. So we're getting the current level and we're adding 1 to it. And then what are we going to do? We're going to say scene manager dot load scene, and we're going to load the only scene we have, which is 0. So let me just add here using Unity engine dot scene management. So with this, we're pretty much done. So whenever I come to the finish, I can call out the next level, and this will be called. I will pass the level and I will increase it by 1. Now we're not going to do it that simple, because later on that can cause problems and whatnot. Actually, what are we going to do? Sorry about that. Actually, what are we going to do is we're going to use enum. So public enum, so enum, come on, enum, player state. So our player state will have 4 different states. One will be prepare, the other one will be playing, so playing, the other one will be died, and the other one, the last one will be finish. So what are these? Prepare will be used before we get into the game, so you can check the UI, you can remove music, you can change maybe the player's appearance or whatnot. After you click on the screen, you're going to go to playing screen. Now, depending if you finish the game, if you reach the end, you're going to go to the finish state and then go to the next level. And if you don't manage to do that and you bump into one of the black stacks, then you're going to die and you're going to go to player state to die. So we're going to use our player states to actually see where our player is at, and based on that we're going to use some parts of code and some not. So let's go ahead and just call that out. So we're going to do this, hide in inspector, and we're going to hide a public player state. So we're initializing our player state, which we're going to call player state, and by default all player state will be player state dot prepare, just like this. In update function, so when do we want to check if smash is true? We want to check that only if our player state equals to player state dot playing. So only when we are playing, we're checking if we are actually doing all of this over here. So let me cut that off, put it here. So other thing that you can use to shine up your code, I just don't know a word for it. Just let me think a second. To make your code more beautiful, that's what I want to say, is you can use this like here and then to a region, and here you can say maybe playing. So playing, and here at the end you will just add and the region, and voila, it's pretty much done. Come on, and I can just pull up this and down. So this is if you want to brighten up your code so it looks better on when you're reading it, but I'm gonna leave it as it is. So this is when we are playing. So when we are not playing, so let's say for example, if our player state equals to player state dot prepare, then we're checking if our mouse input that dot mouse button down, so mouse button down. If it is true, then we are gonna say our player state equals to player state dot playing, not prepare but playing. So this is how you're gonna change the states. You just set the player state and then equals to whatever state you want. Other than that, we're gonna add one more state, which is not simple, but it's like this, which is finish. When we are done, we're just gonna say that, we're just gonna delete this. When we're done and when we press our button, we're gonna say find object of type. We're searching for the level spawner, and here we're gonna call out our next level. Now the last thing we gotta do is actually to add when are we gonna actually be finished. So when are we gonna finish? So whenever we touch our finish, so if you are smash, okay, this doesn't matter if you're smashing or not. It matters if we're actually gonna touch it. So we're gonna say here if our target dot game object dot tag equals to finish, and we're gonna check for one more thing, which is if our player state equals to player state dot playing. Now why is this important? If it wasn't for this, so not this but player state like this, if it double equals to player playing, when it's like this, I can just say here player state equals to player state dot finish, and this line of code will be called only once because this is on collision enter. If you remember, our ball will jump around every single time, and imagine having finish over and over again. So here we're gonna call it only once because we're gonna add multiple things, like like particle effects. We're gonna instantiate like other things, add the sound, and so on and so forth. We want those things to be only added once. You're going to see it later on. Other than that, we're pretty much done. We just want for now to change the state. And one more thing we can do is add here if our player state equals to player state dot playing. If it's true, then we are going to be able to do this. So if I go back and we play, we can test it out. So let me try, boom, 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 and go down. It works, but you can see the problem that our ball is not bouncing. The problem with that is we're checking if we are smashing or not based if we are playing our game. Fix to this is you can leave this out of the way and just leave this here to be on like this, because this over here is actually the problem that is not a problem, but that something that is causing it to go down. So if I were to do this, I think it should work. But still, if you hold down the screen, you will still have the same problem. So let me check that one more time just to show you guys. So bam, 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 bam. It's gone. If I release it, it's still there. So that's a problem. Now, a quick and easy fix to do it is just to check for one more thing. If it's smash or if target.gameObject.tag equals to finish. Not finish, but finish. Finish. So if it's either that or this, then we're going to have our velocity go up, and this should fix our problem that we're currently having. So bam, and you can see it works smooth as butter. Now, as you can see here, the level is not going up, except when I click on it, then it's going up. This is cool and good to know. And here right now, you can see that even though we're in the prepare phase, as soon as I click, we're going into it. That's what we want, but we want to have a different UI displayed when it's the prepare mode and different UI when it's playing mode. We're going to see that later on when it comes to the game UI. As for now, we're pretty much done for this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.